Water resources management affects almost all aspects of the economy, in particular health, food production and security, domestic water supply and sanitation, energy and industry, and environmental sustainability. Water stress is already high in many parts of Nigeria, making improved management critical to ensuring sustainable development. Adaptation to climate change is closely linked to water resources management and its role in sustainable development. Many experts say to recognize this reality and to respond accordingly presents development opportunities.
How do we get out? I think all of us need to work together. There must be an interministerial coordination. All the stakeholders must realize that water is life. We also have to appreciate the fact that we need to clearly define our goals and our objectives. And in this regard, if you are sick and you go to a doctor, you tell the doctor that I have a headache. I always tell people, who tells you that you have a headache? So it's important for us to do a critical analysis of where we're going. First, where are we coming from, where we are, and where we're going. And in this regard, there is a need for us to do a research, and we need to invest in research. There's also a need for us to have a national investment plan to look at the whole concept of climate change, to look at the whole concept of water, and we must integrate all this into our national development program. And we need to run away from this concept of short term. It must be now. You see, when a woman is to deliver, it takes a period from a conceptual stage to when that woman delivers the baby. So we need to appreciate that life itself is a journey. And in the journey, there must be steps, there must be program of action. And once you can get all these things in place, then we move forward. But having said that, I think also there's a need for education. We must invest in education. We must discipline ourselves. We need to change our culture. You see, people waste water, and we don't even care that it's just water. But we have forgotten that we also have a social responsibility, and that we need to address. Again, when we talk about discipline, for instance, I know a number of people that have spent their time. Let me give you a very simple example. You find out that Nigeria, you just find ships throwing something on this, on that, you see. But if we are disciplined and we are well coordinated in our approach, a lot of things can be done right. So I think there is a need also for discipline, for a change of attitude. We must also appreciate that water itself has its own culture. When you say water is life, life has a culture. Don't let us run away from it. So we need to take a closer look into studying this thing and exactly what we want.
The rapid shrinking of Lake Chad from about 45,000 square kilometers in 1960 to less than 3,000 square kilometers in 2007 is attributed mainly to changes in the climatic conditions over the region towards increasing aridity. Fresh water shortage in the Lake Chad Basin has had severe economic impacts on the fisheries, flood restoration agriculture, livestock rearing, and other wetland industries in the northeastern part of Nigeria.
One of the major causes of us not having enough water and being what they call a water poor country is very, very inefficient management of the various water systems that do exist in the country. We do have lovely water systems with the River Benue, the River Niger, the Ogunpa River, so many water systems, but they're being very, very badly managed, and at the same time we're allowing them to become degraded. A lot of the water sources come from highlands, and God in His infinite wisdom and mercy has created a situation of stability in the highlands. And what is that stability? It's simply the root zone of the trees that are there. So the forests on the highlands, they keep the soil intact, and that allows the water to filter down and come into little streams and rivulets, and those eventually grow into rivers. And this is how, but what's happening now, we're cutting down all our forests, we're degrading, removing the root zone, so we're having tremendous erosion on those highlands, and it's silting up the streams and the rivers, so they no longer have the capacity to channel that sort of water. At the same time, of course, the monster of climate change is at work here and drying up a lot of our water sources like Lake Chad. Lake Chad has almost disappeared It's no longer a Nigerian lake anymore. It just belongs way over there, and there's very little of it left. So climate change and mismanagement is causing tremendous pressure on our water supply.
Global warming-induced changes in weather patterns that can have serious repercussions on the country's water resources have become more frequent in recent years. Climate change impacts on water are directly undermining human development because of their linkages to water supply, sanitation, food, energy, health, and by extension, the Millennium Development Goals. Water is the primary medium through which climate change influences Earth's ecosystem and thus the livelihood and well-being of societies. Higher temperatures and changes in extreme weather conditions are projected to affect availability and distribution of rainfall, river flows, and groundwater, and further deteriorate water quality. The poor, who are the most vulnerable, are likely to be adversely affected.
We have lost so much that the window of opportunity to get it back is closing very, very rapidly. And if that window of opportunity closed, then we have also foreclosed the future of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of young people that are trying to grow up and looking for a life to lead in this country. We still can intervene, and one of the major things we need to do is to go on a very massive reforestation drive, because forests and trees, you know, they're not just there for wood, for building. They're not just there for firewood. They're not even just there for giving us oxygen, which is such a wonderful, miraculous process. The trees and the forests are also water reservoirs. This is what brings in the water from the inland, from the coastal areas, and brings it inland. And they act like a relay system. Do you know that there's a forest in Cameroon, which borders Calabar, called Cross River? This forest supplies water to a region in Ghana. It's like a relay process. So one of the first things we have to do is take this protection of the creation very, very, very seriously. Our lives, and definitely the lives of our children, depends on it. The climate change bill is a very, very good legislation. It was well thought out. This climate change bill needs to come in and needs to be signed by the presidency.
Nigeria will need to improve and consolidate its water resources management systems and to identify and implement no-regret strategies which have positive development outcomes that are resilient to climate change. Researchers have advised that some of these adaptation strategies can include:
stop looking at the water systems of Nigeria as different systems and take them as holistic systems. The River Niger is one river. It doesn't matter whether it passes through many states or not. River Benue is one river. It doesn't matter whether it passes through many states or not. Ogun River is one river. It doesn't matter whether it passes through one state or not. And the only way to do it is to do the proper mapping of the conditions of these rivers and then develop what we call integrated water resources management approach, in which all issues, including population use, agricultural use, industrial use, transport, everything will be part of it. And plan how to utilize the water resources of this system in a holistic manner, which calls for joint collaboration among the states and with the federal government, if not with the local government. Local government may not have the resources, but at least the federal and the state government should be able to collaborate. And everybody people, I hope people have had what we call the Tennessee Valley Authority development, in which the whole Mississippi River was planned for and utilized in such a way that the rate at which was flooding was reduced. But if you just regard that this is upper Benue River, lower Benue River basin, and every basin authority is doing one thing or the other, then it does not really show that we are regarding these waters as systems that need to be properly managed in an integrated manner. The most critical thing is planning and being able to translate this plan into action. It is when you plan and you develop activities that you want to use for implementing your plan that you can now be able to say, I'm going to do this, and this is what Authority A will do, Authority B will do this, Authority C will do that, in a coherent joint manner that will allow the rivers to operate as systems within the Nigerian territory.
You see, we need to stop politicizing. There's too much politics in whatever we do in this country, and we need to move away. The world will continue. The world will leave us behind. You see, but the major problem and challenges which I believe we also need to face is that there is a lot of demand on us, on our water, on the way of life, and on this. And until we get things properly done, then we run into problem. Finally, I think also we need to appreciate that there is a concept of sustainability. We're all trustees, whether water or environment or anything. We're all trustees to generations yet unborn. And they will ask us, what did we do in our time? We must realize that water has a security element in it.
Environmental experts say water must be seen as essential not only for sustaining quality of life, but also for peace building, in which it is better to provide some water for all rather than to provide more for some. Reliable and secure access to water must be ensured, and water provision be taken as a good entry point for community empowerment. Empowering people to use water efficiently, increasing productivity and equity of existing systems, and promoting crop diversification are also some of the pathways to promoting climate-resilient water resources management for sustainable development. And with that, we close EarthFile today, but we are always a click away. Send us your comments or questions to earthfile@channelstv.com. For me and the rest of the team, it's bye for now.